Miraculous Ladybug, a kids show that aired in 2015. Me, a newly fledged adult who is turning 20 this year. What do we have in common? We were both birthed in September. Yeah, I know birthed is a pretty weird and visceral term to be used here, but the first episode did come out in September 2015, when I was just a little tween, and boy did this show have me in a chokehold. As an artist who had dreams of being a fashion designer since young, Marinette's character spoke to me because her aspirations aligned with mine. But I soon outgrew her clumsy, Mary Sue-like personality and the show's repetitive style, and the obsession morphed into something like hatred. Yes, I hated this show at one point. I won't say I hate it now, but there are definitely major plot points and character development flaws that I am disillusioned by. So after seeing the plethora of miraculous AUs and redesigns fans have cooked up, I decided to join the mix with my own cacophony of ideas. These characters are just my reinterpretations, and they do not ultimately belong to me. Furthermore, this is purely self-indulgent, and as much as I dislike the show itself, I direct no hate towards anyone involved in its creation. Okay, now that the disclaimers are out, let's get into the art process. Firstly, I am directing my attention to redesigning Marinette. I imagine her to have a much more fashion-forward look, which is very DIY and scrappy. Death to the strange blazer she had in the show. I also wanted to imply that she puts way more detail and effort into her sense of style by giving her braids, because it takes much more time and skill to braid one's hair evenly than to tie them up into pigtails, and it's definitely a more intentional, elevated, and statement look. Plus, I gave her a ladybug charm that she got from an in-universe art fair supporting small indie creators. I mean, as Ladybug is such a public figure in that universe, it wouldn't surprise me if there were tons of merch, fan art, and content created of her and for her. Hence, Marinette wears this clip to encourage herself, as physical proof that people appreciate and need Ladybug. It also serves as a red herring for anyone trying to identify who Ladybug is, because who would claim to be their own biggest fan? Or wear merch of themselves? Surely not Marinette. In this redesign, I am also changing some aspects of her behaviors and personality. She's a force to be reckoned with when it comes to what she's skilled at, being professional at styling, designing, and getting shit done. None of that bumbling and stuttering that the show focuses a lot on. It gets really old and tiring. I just think it'd be cool to contrast her no shit attitude with the flustered mess she becomes when confronted with her feelings of infatuation for Adrian. And yes, I'm using the word infatuation here because it does not start off as love. I think the most unrealistic part of the show is not the spandex wearing teenagers doing parkour in Paris, but the progression of the love square. It just feels very one-dimensional. And what starts off as infatuation morphs into respect and admiration, and only very much later deepens into love once they start dating. Granted, I have no relationship experience, so don't at me for this. Marinette used to work for a small-scale fashion designer, but got noticed and scouted by a major fashion editorial company. She gradually worked her way up to become an assistant of Gabriel Agreste. And there's nothing more awkward than having a killer crush on your no-nonsense boss's son. Plus, said boss is an evil villain that also dispenses your monthly salary. And here she is. I kept Marinette's original color scheme faithful because some things don't need to be fixed. I think pink is a feminine color that really adds to her personality. You can be good at what you do and still be a girly girl. Next up, I am designing Marinette's superhero design, Ladybug. In this AU, the Miraculous Grunster users increase stamina, flexibility, strength, and agility, but requires its user to train and upkeep to leverage upon their improved statistics. Since Marinette is a fashion enthusiast, I wanted to show how she would personalize her superhero outfit instead of it just being pre-programmed latex bodysuit. So she collaborated with Tiki to design her superhero outfit and even sewed the skirt herself. I also added some green to her design to mirror Cat Noir's color scheme. I think it's pivotal that they are viewed as a duo and as a whole, rather than separate parts, which the show does, sidelining Cat Noir as an essential character, where he actually deserves the same care and attention. Since she is a ladybug, I wanted to tap into the bug aesthetic, giving her naturally greens and browns and yellows to echo the leaves and plants ladybugs are found on. I find the original show's design to be too futuristic and simplified, and I want to introduce a bit of analog mystique to their outfits. I think I was really thinking of the iconic book, The Very Hungry Caterpillar, when I was designing her. I have been saving so many pins related to that aesthetic on Pinterest lately. I also gave Ladybug antennae that I headcanon will twitch when she's nervous, go ramrod straight when she's surprised, and sway when she's happy, essentially reacting to her emotions and reflecting how she feels. I think it's just a very neat and cute detail. And here she is. I'm really happy with how she turned out, especially with the whimsical tights. Next up, I am redesigning our problematic queen bee, Chloe. I am actually devastated that I accidentally deleted the artwork in my Procreate and I lost the footage of the time lapse. So here's the sketch and the final piece of Chloe's day-to-day appearance. As penance, I have decided to include a piece of her and Marinette interacting, so stay here for that after her redesign. Okay, so I imagine her to be a Lululemon Pilates influencer type that does Walla hauls as part of her 129 brand ambassador titles. Chloe has definitely modeled for Chanel before and it inflated her already massive ego. In fact, it's so inflated that she can probably lift an entire house like that house from Up. Chloe definitely posts clean girl routines and mirror checks in front of a private gym mirror, but spends more time editing her images than working out. I just feel like her sense of fashion is the only accurate thing in this show, which is because it's pretty on par with how rich people dress, to be honest. Which is to say, quite horribly. But I wanted to modernize her rich girl persona. And Chloe is definitely on top of every single trend and set of multiple new ones on social media. So here I am designing Chloe's Queen Bee superhero outfit. I know I didn't explain why I didn't draw masks, so here it goes. In this AU, the Miraculouses have an innate power to obscure their wearer's identity without the need for a physical disguise. It's part of its power. And definitely not because I want to draw the characters' faces. Anyways, I really struggled with Chloe's design here. I wanted it to be chic but also less athleisure wear-esque, and not the traditional spandex superhero suit. I wanted it to radiate runway model and Met Gala vibes. I also wanted to incorporate a fuzzy statement piece like the fuzz bumblebees have around their neck. But Chloe ended up looking like a clown being strangled, so I scrapped that. I gave her a diamond bumblebee wings that are attached to the arm sleeves of her bodysuit, kind of giving her an aviation ability, like those flying squirrels. I wanted to lean into a more wabi-sabi concept and give a bit of asymmetricality, which is why the stripes are not very even, and I also stuck to the original color scheme to mirror the classic bumblebee pattern. And here's the final design. I'm not super satisfied with how it turned out, but I think I tried my best. So here is a sketch of the dynamic between Marinette and Chloe. I think the biggest thing I would change about Chloe is the depth and complexity of her character. I think it's fumbled so badly in the show, and all the promise of a character redemption arc falls short, because it not only fails to deliver but also made Chloe a snarky rich bully caricature by the end of it all, which is absolutely disappointing. I think Chloe definitely is egocentric, but at the bottom of it she feels scarily inadequate, because she's been thriving off her dad's money all her life, and other than being a perfect pin-up doll, what can she actually do? Other than looking pretty and acting however others think she should, she feels like she can't be anything else. Hence, she bullies Marinette because she feels inferior to her. Marinette actually works her way up and proves time and time again that she is capable and actually has the guts and freedom to be herself. It's like that Mariana Diamandis song where she goes, "I think I'm the worst, so I act like I'm the best." Okay, bear with me, because I have not seen season 6 of Miraculous Ladybug. I have been boycotting it personally ever since I grew fed up with it, which is approximately when Marinette becomes the guardian of the Miraculouses and promptly loses all of them within the first week of taking care of them. It just frustrates me to no end when Tiki is shown to be saying that Marinette is the best ladybug she's ever had, because the bar is literally so low. And I just think that in my redesign, Marinette would have a shorter fuse with Chloe and show her disdain much more in a candid and humorous way. Or maybe I'm just too into toxic Yuri for this to be heterosexual. And here they are. I wanted Chloe to have more teal in her outfit and brown as well, colors other than the classic B colors, because Marinette gets a whole other color scheme and wardrobe outside of her red and black ladybug one, so it's only fair Chloe does too. Lastly, I am sketching Tiki. I want to give her a human persona that pops up in a comic bubble whenever she is experiencing strong emotions, such as frustration at Marinette's blunders when she is Ladybug, or when she forgets important information. I wanted to give her a chibi, bug-like appearance that looked a bit alien but also humanoid at the same time. I think that in my redesign, Tiki would be a lot more snarky and fun to be around, providing humorous commentary on Marinette's day-to-day actions. Honestly, I think the two of them would shit-talk Cockmoth all the time and vent to each other about their frustrations. I think it'd also be interesting to have Tiki be constantly on Marinette's back, about how she falls behind the previous Ladybugs, Marinette's failures, and how Tiki's previous Miraculous holders were so great and Marinette still has a lot to learn. Kind of like how mothers compare their children to other kids, you know. I think it'll add more layers to Marinette's character motivations and instill her with a sense of inadequacy that drives her to improve her character and decisions. Plus, Tiki is not just a one-dimensional cutesy character this way. So, in conclusion, did I make Miraculous Ladybug better? No. Maybe I did. I mean, I sure did make it different. I made it more suited to my tastes. And in my opinion, I would watch this show if these changes were made. So all in all, I wouldn't say that my version is superior, but take what you want from it and change what you want. I mean, we have to write the stories that we want to read and we want to watch, right? So thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. If you stuck around for this long, leave an emoji in the comments. Plus, don't forget to like, subscribe, and once again, I am Bob, bundle of baloney for long, and I'll see you next week. Bye!